What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too if you enjoy the content, of course. And don't forget you can follow us on Podcast 2 now so you can take us with you wherever you go. And you can also support the channel either through YouTube membership down below or heading on over to Patreon where we have different tiers and stuff like that. And with that being said, let's get in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Am I the Arsehole Stepson Problem? Am I the arsehole for cancelling my stepson's birthday because he facepalmed me? I married my husband 2 years ago and my relationship with my stepson 12 has never been well. We tried everything but nothing seems to work. His behaviour towards me is so terrible. He shouts at me, swears at me and calls me the worst mother ever. His 13th birthday is tomorrow, and since my daughter, 7 female, birthday is only 10 days apart, we usually celebrate them both in the same day. They are fine with it. I ask my stepson who is invited, and that's when he facepalms, gesture, and tells me that he's already answered this question before, in the worst tone ever. This is where I lost it, and told him that because of his attitude I'm going to cancel his birthday tomorrow. At first he didn't believe me, since it's not the first time I intend to punish him without actually doing it in the end. But this time I was serious, and to prove it to him, I called his grandparents and told them his birthday got cancelled. He started crying, begging me not to cancel, but I told him it's too late. I got berated by his grandparents because of this, and told me that I don't have the rights to cancel his birthday. As his mother, I'm pretty sure I can do what I want though, but they won't listen to me. They even told me that tomorrow they are coming to his birthday with the gifts, even after I told them not to bother because I won't open the door. Am I the arsehole here? Edit facepalm award? Really? Wow. Now, I'm probably gonna get burned for this, but he's 12 years old, man. And people are gonna say, not all 12-year-olds, but I know a lot of 12-year-olds who have major attitude, just at that time in their life when they're changing. They're becoming more independent and they're struggling with their own thoughts as well. And a bit of attitude where he says, I've answered this already, then facepalms. I don't think that warrants cancelling his birthday. You may not get on with him, but I don't think that's nice. I think that's... And it's just not going to make your relationship any better with a stepson at all. And to be fair, I think if I was 13, I wouldn't want my birthday with a 7-year-old as well. That's just me though. Let's go down straight into the comments to see what we can find. Anob says, I'm being a jerk to a child. Am I the arsehole? You're the arsehole. Pink Purple Blue Pride says, you're the arsehole. Lady, what the actual fuck? Birthdays are never something you should cancel unless the kid majorly screwed up. It's such a shitty thing to do. You only get so many birthdays as kids, and those memories and our experience are so priceless, that the fact that you're punishing him like this for something so damn petty is making me see red. I also noticed how you never actually said why your relationship is strained, and only talked about how he was rude. You're obviously leaving a whole lot of justification on his end out of this. You need to pray to God to give you some empathy and some sense. You need to then uncancel his birthday and make it up to him tenfold. Over a fucking facepalm. Absolutely ridiculous. I wish your stepson the best. Demo Beck says, you're the arsehole. You're not his mother. You're his stepmother, and by the sounds of it, you're making a terrible job of it. I'm sure your husband will love it when his son goes no contact in the future. /sarcasm. Clayman says, I absolutely agree she is the arsehole, but I don't believe the comment about being a stepmum and not the real mum is relevant. She is the arsehole whether she was bio-mum or stepmum. It's just a shitty thing to do regardless, and the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Dora Feo says, you're the arsehole. Please answer me what a 13 male and a 7 female have in common other than being in the same household that would warrant them sharing a birthday. Or does it just make life easier for you? You're an arsehole because you're clearly vying for dominance with a child that you're supposed to be protecting and loving. Kids are little shits, they would be disrespectful and rude in their nature. You're supposed to be an adult. I hope his grandparents come take him out for the day. Noesk says, as a 13-year-old, I can say I'm qualified to say it. Yes, he is bothered by it. He just doesn't want to be a jerk or upset someone. And there we go. And I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Do you think Opie is the arsehole for cancelling the stepson's birthday because of a facepalm? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. Our next story is from Am I the Arsehole Post Throwaway. Am I the arsehole for shouting at my ex in front of my daughters? I, 37 male, have 3 girls, 8, 10 and 12. Their mother walked out on us for another man when her youngest was around 4. My ex still stays in contact though and pays child support. A few weeks ago while doing laundry, I saw red spots on my oldest's underwear. I asked her if she knew about it and she cried and told me that she tried to call her mum, but my ex didn't call back. She'd been stuffing toilet paper in her underwear, hoping that would work. I explained to her that periods are nothing to be ashamed of and found some great resources online for us to review together. I took her to the store to pick out some brands of feminine products she wanted to use. She picked Playtex Sport because she's a gymnast. After we were done, I decided I should do the same thing with my other two. My 12-year-old volunteered to be a part of preparing them. We made a whole night of it. It was wonderful and I learned a lot. I even learned what a menstrual cup is and how they benefit the environment. The other day, my ex called back. I usually arrange a video chat and leave the room so they can have some alone time. And when they're done chatting, I'll come back in to talk boring co-parenting stuff like school, bills, etc. This last time, my ex was furious with me for talking about periods with the girls. She shouted at me that I was sick and perverted. Why didn't I call her myself if I knew it was so urgent? I could have called one of their grandmas/aunts, but my mum has dementia, while her mum and sister call me a loser because I teach kindergarten, so I'm not fond of them. My ex told me I was being immature and should have just toughed it out for the girls. This really pissed me off, so I shouted back that maybe if she wasn't such a deadbeat and answered her goddamn phone once in a while, she could have handled this. I brought up everything that she does that hurts them. She hasn't been to a single soccer game, piano recital, or gymnastic meetings in 2 years. Every other weekend when they come from her house, they go straight to their rooms, only to emerge hours later asking me why she loves her new husband more than them, and what did they do to make her leave. My ex responded by saying I should tell them it's not their fault, I couldn't satisfy her, and I screamed, "Fuck you," and just smirked and pointed behind me saying, "Look what you did." When I turned around, my 8-year-old and 10-year-old were standing in the doorway crying. It broke my heart. I never shout, so I know I scared them. My 12-year-old stormed in and started screaming at her mum, and while I appreciated her sticking up for me, this is not a battle I want her fighting. My ex hung up before I could fully de-escalate the situation. Let's just say the girls have been free reign of the ice cream and limitless hours of video games because I feel so bad. I even watched the Twilight movies with them, so don't say I don't love them. But in this instance, am I the arsehole for shouting? Before we even get into the whole shouting thing, I gotta say, for you to take that upon yourself to learn about menstrual cycles and stuff like that, fair play to you. How can the ex to call you perverted for doing so? Fuck her, man. That's triggered me. That's triggered me. You sound like an absolute legend of a dad that looks after his girls. To go to the store, to learn about it, to sit with them one night and talk about it together. Absolutely amazing of you. Let's get this guy into the clone machine. Let's get him around. But there's a comment below which I saw, which I'm going to read out straight away because I think this is probably the most relevant comment of the bunch. The Only Pie Maker says, "Not the arsehole. Have you considered they were crying because of how you were treated rather than the fact that you lost your temper? It's easy to assume the worst. Children are more observant than we give them credit for. That your daughter defended you right away pretty much makes it impossible to consider you an arsehole. Looking at it from a pure logic standpoint, isn't it better to learn not to expect anything from their mum early in life? Certainly you shouldn't have lost your temper in front of the children, but no one is perfect, especially when someone is calling you perverted for being a great single dad. You also had no idea they were listening so closely. Honestly, you're way too hard on yourself to even think you needed to post here. Keep on being a great dad." Absolutely. And OP quotes the first part and then says, "This has given me a lot to think about and it pretty much sums up what my 12-year-old has been saying. The younger two just say they wish their mum would come back and we could all be a family again. It's killing me." Sexy Southern Bee says, "Here's the thing though, you're having to be a super dad because mum left. Of course they wish things could be normal again. I'm sure you wish the same thing. An honest conversation might need to happen again to let them voice how they feel together and see that you understand and wish things were different too. You're being an awesome parent trying to be there and make sure they feel loved. Please don't stop being an amazing parent." Cult Queen says, "Not the arsehole. I'm disturbed that your ex-wife thinks it's not your place to talk about menstruation with your own kids. So I'm glad you broke that toxic thought process with your own kids. Your ex-wife sounds like the devil that wanted to push your buttons to let your kids see you get heated sometimes. She's toxic and I'm glad your kids have a chance at life with a good parent." Farmer Girl 92 replies to this saying, "The fact that she grinned when the kids were crying and claimed it was his fault when she chose to walk out and can't even show up to events. God, that woman is awful and my heart breaks for those kids." Chubbalub says, "Not the arsehole. Okay, you should have maybe have stopped the conversation when you found it getting out of hand, but she knew exactly what she was doing. She saw the kids behind you and didn't warn you, deliberately. So she is equally responsible for exposing them to shouting. She sounds like a terrible mother, and you sound like a great dad. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a dad talking to daughters about their body, as long as they're comfortable with the conversation. My dear old dad had 3 daughters, only a year apart, and we all ended up syncing our periods. He knew exactly what each of us preferred every month and would leave a big bag of sanitary products and chocolate bars in our rooms. OP replied to this and quotes the section and says, "I like this idea. Hope he doesn't mind if I steal it." I've heard of this before from a couple of friends that, like, women living in the same household, that their periods can sync. Is this actually a thing? Educate me, people. Educate me. Our next story is from Musical Carrot. Am I the arsehole for calling my aunt a fucking idiot and searching her room? My aunt and cousin are staying with me and my family for a little while. I have asthma and I take pills for it every night. Yesterday morning my cousin came up to me and asked if I could stop taking my pills because it triggers her. Anyone else in the world I would have said no, but my cousin is a recovering drug addict, so I said I can take it in another room, but I still have to take it. She got mad but left me alone. Night came when I was supposed to take my meds. I leave my meds on my desk so I know where it is. I went to my desk to grab it and it was gone. I asked everyone in my house if they had taken it and they said no. I had this feeling in my gut like I already knew what had happened. I went into the room my aunt and cousin were staying in and started searching. Looking in the bedside table, there they were, my meds. My aunt walked in right as I was going to take them and started screaming at me about going into her room. Last I checked, it was still my parents' house. She grabbed the meds out of my hand and said it's really difficult for my cousin to not relapse when she knows I'm taking pills. Dude, they are pink and bubblegum flavoured, they're barely even pills. She said that I'm going to have to do it without my meds while they were here. Now let me just say, my aunt is one of those crazy anti-vax essential oil type bitch. She doesn't believe in asthma. So I snatched my meds out of her hand and called her a fucking idiot, because I can't breathe if I don't take those meds. She got angry and told my mum that I called her a fucking idiot and searched the room. My mum took away my phone. Am I the arsehole? And then some notes saying, I take 5 milligrams of Monty Lacaste for anyone wondering. We had a post about that recently, causing hallucinations apparently. Mum and aunt are in their 40s. I'm 14, my cousin is 17. Please don't bash my mum, she's punished me for the cursing, but I don't think she got the whole story. Also for the people asking, my mum and dad were on a date when I noticed my meds were gone. Update, I told my mum the whole story, she gave me back my phone and sent me to my room while her and my dad talked to my aunt and cousin. Update 2, my mum told my aunt to apologise or she's getting kicked out. Well, we're going to have to instantly say you're not the arsehole, but the aunt doesn't believe in asthma. What the fuck? Oh man. We're going to go straight down into the comments with this one to see what we can find. Mr. Brink says, your aunt potentially risked your life. You already reached a compromise with your cousin about taking the pill out of sight. If she is so new in her recovery that the idea of someone taking medicine regularly out of sight is enough to trigger her, she should be in an inpatient facility getting additional treatment. Your mum is a piece of work. I can't understand her reaction. I'm so sorry, OP. Not the arsehole. Sis Takitin says, glad this is up pretty high, because the cousin really should be getting treatment if A, it's that easier for her to relapse, and B, her mother believes she has the means to relapse, access to her addictive substance or behaviour. A name I can't pronounce says, and quotes, now let me just say my aunt is one of those crazy anti-vax. Then says, say no more, not the arsehole. Love that. Wada Ep says, not the arsehole, tell your mother the whole story, your cousin and aunt are nuts. And once again guys, I'm going to turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of the story? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on the poll in the description. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for giving up on having a relationship with my sister? My sister 25 and I, female 23, were best friends our whole lives and did everything together. A year after she started dating her now husband, 33, she moved out to be closer to him. Her husband is one of those guys who debates everyone about everything. The way it comes off to me is that he's never looking for a common ground or solution to an idea or a problem. He just wants to make you feel stupid. We very rarely had conversations where I walked away seeing him in a positive light. While they were dating, she would consistently come up to me crying because he spoke rudely to her, offended her, spoke down to her. After every fight, she seemed resolved to break up, but they never did. Despite having only dated one semi-tumultuous year, they decided to get married. My mother objected to this decision and asked if they would at least wait a year because we needed more time to get to know him and hopefully like him. Very little effort was made to get us all together and bond. Also, my mum preferred that my sister graduated college first before tying the knot. They refused to wait and my mother was uninvited to the wedding. It's been a year since they've been married and my sister has tried to reach out and reconnect. We all spent 3 days trying to talk it out and heal things. Every time we speak to her, things go well. After we hang up with her, she calls back saying her husband doesn't like what happened. He's furious and we need to talk again. So we go over everything again and it's like he refuses to let us back into her life. They subscribe to a form of Christianity that we weren't raised with. They believe that the husband gets to decide everything in their lives, including whether or not she's allowed to come visit us. After I patched things up with her again, he called me back and said I was no longer allowed to call her phone. If I wanted to speak to her, I had to call his phone and ask for her. I ask him what he wants and he says things like, "I want you to respect our union." I don't know what that means. Then he said, "You can't have a good relationship with her unless you have a good relationship with me. We are one." So I'm supposed to pretend to like him, I guess. It's like a hostage situation. I can tell my dad wants me to open myself up to all this drama again, just because she's my sister, but I feel like it doesn't matter what I do. Her husband will always say I can't have a relationship with her, and honestly, I like her less because she's allowed this to happen and won't stand up for us. Am I the arsehole? Edit, I forgot to clarify that in our last 2 conversations, I told her that I care about her and that she can contact me whenever she needs to get away from him. Dude sounds like he's on a major power trip. I could get burned for saying this one, it almost sounds like an abusive relationship. He's basically keeping her hostage, telling her what she can and can't do. You know, and it's going to be like a tough thing to solve. I mean, I think the only thing as a sister you can do is be open with her and just say, look, I'm always here for you, and just keep reinforcing that. I think if you break ties with her, it just isolates her and will just trap her in that relationship. So I think you really need to stay open and just leave it like that. I don't think there's much else you can do in the situation apart from punching the guy in the teeth, but I don't think that will get you anywhere either. But let's go down to the comments to see what's going on down there. GR iPass says, your sister is in an abusive marriage. The only thing you should be thinking about is how to get her out of it. Edit, not the arsehole, because you do have to look out for your own mental health. However, I think you should absolutely keep lines of communication open. She's clearly in an abusive situation, and that call may come someday for help. OP replies to this saying, yeah, I definitely told her multiple times that I care about her, that she can contact me whenever she wants to, out of that abusive situation. She told me, I gave him authority over my life, I signed up for this. He has the final say of what goes on in our household, and I'm okay with that. I guess, even if that means she doesn't get to see her family again. What the hell, man? Chaos of a Mad Hatter says, sister, I love and care about you, and I only want you to be happy and safe. If this is what you want and you are happy and safe emotionally and mentally in your relationship, then I'm happy for you. I will always be there for you any time of the day or night that you need me. However, for my mental health and well-being, I cannot deal with husband's name anymore. The way he treats you and your family is hurtful to me. If there comes a time when you and I can have a relationship separate from him, then I will be here. But I cannot continue to talk to a man that doesn't respect you, me, or our family. And that is an amazing way to put it, absolutely. And I would love to know how she would respond to that as well. Tizachi says, that's absolutely an abusive relationship. If she won't allow help, there isn't anything you can do, but please keep yourself open to her if she reaches out. Lala Loso 08 says, yes, exactly. This is abuse 101. They isolate you. Stay open. She will need you when she gets out of this. Midnight Musing says, not the arsehole. This sounds like a very scary situation for your sister. Narcissistic abuse under the guise of religion. The fact that he's not even trying to hide the fact that he's isolating your sister is very concerning. If he's not physically abusive yet, I can guarantee you that he will be. I'm all about protecting your own mind and energy, so I don't think you're wrong for not wanting to continue on with this cycle of trying to reach out to your sister, only to be shot down by her/her husband. I'd say for now keep the door open for her, because she will need it eventually, and in the meantime, just reach out to your sister periodically to let her know you still love her and care, and that you're there for her if she needs you. The more isolated she feels, the less likely she's going to see a way out. Wow, that is a tough story to hear, someone like stuck in that situation, and I'm sorry if that's triggered anyone, because I know some people have probably been through that in the past in this channel, and I'm so sorry that you had to as well. But what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. And our final story comes from Am I the Arsehole Bartender Girlfriend 879. Am I the arsehole for showing up at my girlfriend's bar? Throwaway. My girlfriend works as a bartender at a relatively popular local bar. She has frequently expressed to me that she gets a lot of unwanted male attention from the customers, and even some staff. I keep explaining to her that she should quit and find another job, but she keeps insisting that she needs the extra money to stay afloat / help pay for university. Bars have begun to open up and serve customers in my country, so my girlfriend has returned to work and even picked up extra shifts. I don't like her working in such a place, and I frequently offer to loan her money to ease some of her stress, but she's declined. So today, when I was doing some errands in town, I passed by the bar which she works at and just decided to pop in for a moment. It was not as busy as usual, but it wasn't completely deserted. There were a few customers, mostly male, scattered around. I sat down and ordered a drink. She was working the bar. She barely acknowledged me, gave me a small smile and served me my drink without so much as a second thought. I brushed it off and thought it was because she was slightly stressed. However, as I stayed longer, I noticed she was smiling more at certain customers, borderline flirting with some. I managed to stay for the entirety of her shift. When her shift was finally over, she asked me why I stayed for most of her shift. I was upset because she wasn't treating me with the same respect as other customers. I told her I'd meet her at home, and when I got home she was slightly annoyed because I waited for her shift to end. I tried to explain to her that I wasn't stalking or anything, I just popped in, and then was met with a pleasing image of her flirting with customers. She hasn't spoken to me, and just made me food and ignored my presence. So, am I the asshole? Look, I might get shot down for this one, but she's in an industry where she's serving people in a male-dominated area. And I think if you're trying to work tips like you have to in the US, you don't have to do that in the UK, but I think in the US, you know, people rely on tips quite a lot. You have to give that extra customer service. And if flirting does that, you know, if it gets you extra tips, then why the hell not, right? But I might be totally wrong. That might be a very sexist view of me, so I apologize if that's the case. And I've heard people mention to me, like in the restaurant industry before, like they will smile at customers, maybe even flirt sometimes just to get that extra tip. And so, you know, it's not, I think it's just one of those things, but I may be totally wrong here. And I do apologize if it is wrong, you know. It's just from what I've got from reading these posts previously, you know, and probably what I would do. But at the same time, OP sounds a bit controlling, right? I don't believe that he was just passing the bar. I think he purposely went there and then sat down there all day to watch her. You know, it's kind of concerning. Let's go down into the comments to see what we can find, and I hope they will back me up. Broderos says, so many red flags from you. You show up at her work uninvited, which is way over the line. If she wanted you to come and protect her, she would have told you. I would have been pissed if I were her. Then you sit there and monitor her. Also very creepy and a breach of her boundaries. Then you have the fault to criticize her for how she deals with customers. You do not own her. She is her own person. You cross so many boundaries. Big, you're the arsehole. Stuart's Paradox replies to this saying, I wonder if it's actually flirting or her just being nice to customers. Even if it was flirting, who cares? But considering this dude doesn't think he crossed a line, my money is on her being nice and him assuming it was flirting. Congrats OP, you're a nice guy. You're the arsehole. Alert Management says, you're the arsehole. I highly doubt she was flirting. She's probably being nice. It's how you get tips. You may have had seemingly good intentions, but that doesn't excuse turning up to a workplace unannounced. What girlfriend would want their partner looming over them at work, judging them for every move? Of course she treated you a little coldly. You should have had a civilized conversation with her, instead of turning up to a place of work unannounced. You're also an arsehole for thinking she needs your approval of where to work. Mia Tai says, you're the arsehole. Part of her job is to be friendly with customers. You sound like a controlling, jealous and insecure partner. Let your girlfriend deal with her own work issues. Don't get involved and don't show up at her place of employment. In quotes, I keep explaining to her that she should quit and find another job. I frequently offer to loan her money. Drop it. I don't like her working in such a place. Too bad, she obviously wants to keep working there. And quotes again, I managed to stay for the entirety of her shift. I tried to explain to her I wasn't stalking or anything. Yes, you were stalking her. Have some respect for her and don't show up at her work again. Terrible Aardvark says, yeah, with a boyfriend like this, I don't blame her for wanting to keep her job, even if she actually really hates it and continues having her own form of income instead of having to depend on this creepy guy. And it's not surprising that she would be more friendly with other customers. For one thing, he showed up, that's weird. For another, she needs to get tips. Why would she lay charm on with her SO when there are customers that needs to serve and keep happy? You're the arsehole. Wow, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 5. Once again guys, thank you for being here. You know, I tell you every time, I really appreciate you for coming in, commenting below. I see like the same people turn up every day, new faces as well. I absolutely love it. I love talking to you. I love reading your comments. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.